Welcome to another episode of Chasing Labels. I am your host, Stephen Billings, but I don't even know my name. My name is Stephen Billings. And Andrew Cabrillo. I'm going to mess up your name too because I messed up mine.
Oh, okay. I guess it is fair and balanced, I
Yeah,
guess, or just evenly balanced, as they say. I didn't realize that this is now spine number 115. I don't know how we got here, but we're here. Sometimes it's all a blur. It really is.
It really is. Life is a blur right now for me. I'm in that stage. Anybody that's a parent, and you work all the time, and it just becomes a blur. I'm waiting for the blur to end.
I know. It's just like must feel methodical, like you're just like a robot. Just plotting
my
through
job,
the days,
if my job
plotting through the
wasn't
days.
enough, my job wasn't enough of making me feel like a robot, then yes, becoming a parent where you have to be on a schedule, at least that's how we do it. Everything's become very mechanical.
Indeed.
So,
Indeed.
but
what's not mechanical is really all of the Blu-ray and movie announcements and
it is mechanical. It's always coming out on a routine.
Very much so. I think I you had introduced a couple of more mainstreamy things in our pre-production meeting, but it's not really that.
It's a pre-production
glamorous.
Meeting, yeah.
It's not really that glamorous. Basically, Stephen and I meet up 10 minutes before the show and just ramble on about.
Okay, are we going to talk about this? Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
No, I don't really want to talk. Let's hurry this shit up. Okay.
You would think we would plan this days ahead of time, which I'm pretty sure more professional podcasters do, but no, that's not the way it rolls.
We used to be a little bit more like official, but then I got tired of doing all that extra work.
Well, we used to, even not even official, we used to actually write down all of the things we were going to talk about.
At least like as they were coming out, yeah.
And now we're just doing it off the cuff. Yeah. We're doing it from our heads because we're so good at this. That's what I like to think.
Sure, yeah, that's part of it. Part of it's, once you do this long enough, you don't feel the need to over-prepare.
No, it becomes natural.
Yeah.
It becomes part of your life. At least it becomes part of my life.
I know it's become part of yours. You put the most into this when it comes to viewing.
Because I want to stay current on what's going on in the world of collecting and in the world of physical media.
Is the movies, or at least the movies themselves, are they keeping us in a good place? Are they picking? That,
the one thing you learn over time is there's some things that you don't expect to happen that end up happening. Like some movies get released by a certain company that you never expected, or some movies that you've waited forever to get a Blu-ray release or a 4K release or something finally gets released. And that's happened several times over the last several years that we've been doing this. But in the more mainstreamy game, they seem to be circling the wagon when it comes to putting out movies. And once again, they've circled the wagon in I would say new and exciting ways, but it's not really new and exciting.
There's nothing exciting about this.
But which one do you want to tackle first?
Okay, let's get the garbage chute out of the way. The Disney set.
Yes, the Disney Legacy Animated Film Collection. The massive set is scheduled to arrive on November 14th, which is relatively right around the corner, if you can believe it or not.
What they're hoping for is on Black Friday, you're gonna buy the shit out of this.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. So it's part of Disney's 100th anniversary celebration, which I didn't really realize was going on until this moment in time. The set includes 100 animated titles on Blu-ray, digital codes for each film, feature the original theatrical poster art, collectible lithograph from Disney Animation's all-new musical comedy Wish, and collectible crystal Mickey ears hat with exclusive Disney 100 engraving on it. And the set is like this what do you want to call this color? Like a stone shiny color. Anywho, it contains 100 films going back all the way to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, all the way up to Elemental, which is one of the more recent films. Yeah. So they're including like Pixar stuff in here as well, I believe. But yeah, it's 100 films, and the price tag we've heard on this is $1,500, which seems a bit absurd to me.
I don't know who this is for. Who is this for?
There are a lot of diehard Disney fans who this probably grabs the attention of. especially with the little extra swag they throw in there with the crystal Mickey ears. But for those of you who've been collecting Disney films from the VHS era, the DVD era, the Blu-ray era, and now the 4K era, if you take a gander at a lot of at these movies, most of them, if not a high percentage of them, like 90 to 95%, have all been collected on Blu-ray, on DVD, and even in the 4K format now. So we're just kind of recycling these old discs, really.
Well, and what have they been doing all this year anyway? They've been putting
They've been
out.
fighting with striking actors and writers. That's
Well,
what they've been doing.
that's one thing, but they've already been putting out these animated movies on discs singly all year.
Oh yeah, all several years
with these shitty covers on them.
Oh, you're talking about those steel books?
Yeah.
That are at Best Buy that nobody's buying, and they stay on the shelves because they're just these plain Jane silver steel books with these tiny, like, artwork covers in the center of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not very presentable. Like, they're not very nice looking.
And so this set is a perfect example of how studio like Disney does not understand why people like physical media. Like, they literally just don't get it. They think, oh man, people like snazzy sets. Yeah, we like sets. I'm a set guy. I don't want a set with that many films in it that costs, my mortgage to buy it. You know what I mean? Like, nobody that's too much.
Yeah, and
what?
I know it breaks down to like under $20 per film. I think it's like $15 or $16 per film, something like that. I can't do the math on this. But it's a lot of people already own these movies.
Yeah.
A lot of people already have bought them several times. And this has happened a lot. We've talked a little bit about this before, I think. We probably have. But Disney's notorious for re-putting out their old movies with just new titles on them. Like, this is the Platinum Collection, this is the Diamond Collection, this is the Disney whatever collection, and now they're kind of doing it again, just putting a fancy label on it. And like Steven said, it is kind of goes to show that they just trying to squeeze more money out of more people who maybe don't have these movies anymore. And in the world of streaming, where Disney Plus has all of these movies, it is also kind of a hard sell in that regard too.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? I don't think this is going to be something that gets somebody to dive into buying movies if they're already streaming them. It's also a hefty price tag. That's a hefty price tag for any collection, I think, at this juncture of time. I don't know if these are going to be limited to a certain amount of a certain number. I don't know anything like that. All I know is that it is coming out in November, and it's not something that I'm particularly interested in. There actually are several of these movies I would want to own, individually myself.
Yeah.
I mean, certain favorites and things like that I have in my collection that I still want to get in my collection, that I still need. But maybe there's someone listening out there who does want it. Who knows?
I'm sure there's somebody that wants it and somebody that's going to be all over this, but I just don't see how they think this. I mean, they don't get it.
What is interesting too is that they just announced a Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs 4K UHD edition coming out. So it's like, if anything, people would want that to upgrade from their DVDs or their Blu-rays. Like, I don't particularly like the model, the way Disney releases their stuff, but it works a lot better than this, in my opinion. But moving on from there, there's another set coming out of movies that have already been released, and that's the Paramount. What's it called? The Paramount Scare Collection.
Yeah, Paramount Scares, Volume 1, and these are all 4Ks. And it has four films. Let's see. Wait, let me make sure I get this right. I think there's a mystery movie in here as well
that they haven't announced yet.
Yeah,
and I did hear that mystery film is something that has not been released in 4K before. So we've got Rosemary's Baby, Pet Cemetery, Crawl, Smile, and then the mystery movie. So it's 5 movies, and this is coming out October 24th, right in time for Halloween. So right at that juncture. And yet again, this is the Pet Cemetery from 1989. This is
Yes.
not the remake from a couple of years ago. So this is that. Rosemary's Baby getting yet again another release. This movie's gotten so many releases over the last little while. Um, yeah, it's gotten the Criterion release on Blu-ray from 2012. It's gotten a regular release from Paramount in 2021. It's gotten a standalone 4K UHD release from Paramount in October. That's coming out October 10th, actually. And then it's coming out in this set as well. Um, yeah, damn.
The only thing I mean, like, I think this is a fine set. There's nothing wrong with this. I think I like thematic sets. The only thing is the only theme here is that these are horror movies from the same studio. I wish maybe that they would have chose films in the catalog that maybe thematically, as the films themselves, felt more closer to each other, and we didn't just like pick two movies from you got a movie from the 60s, a movie from the 80s, and two movies from the last 5 years. Like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of all over the place. Like, I don't really
the only real theme in here is that they're all, like you just said, they're horror films, but it's an eclectic group.
I mean, look, I like all these movies. Like, I like Rosemary's Baby. I like Pet Cemetery. Smile was surprisingly good. I saw that not too long ago.
I think Crawl is a great kind of.
It's underrated.
Like, would you call it a monster film?
It's an animal attack movie.
Yes, it is like an animal attack movie with a little bit of disaster thrown in there.
Yeah, it's a disaster movie. Yeah, it's a flood.
Yeah, it's got a hurricane, flooding, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Very tight thriller. Like I said, all of these movies have all gotten 4K UHD releases already, so you can buy them individually. It's just I don't know what that fifth film is going to be. So that fifth film could theoretically be exclusive to the set. That would be kind of an ass move, in my opinion.
Yeah, it'd kind of be annoying.
I'm pretty sure many people already own many of these movies or all of these movies.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of a bum move for them to have to make them buy a set to get one movie.
I'm sure whatever it is will get its own release eventually, but they like to start out this way. But I believe our man Justin Beam's involved in this.
Oh, okay.
He of course does a lot of work over at Paramount Presents, so I believe he's got his hands all over this. So, all right. Well, there was also another release from Paramount Presents, and that's Best Picture winner Jack Nicholson, Shirley MacLaine, Jeff Daniels, Danny DeVito in 1983's Terms of Endearment from James L. Brooks.
Have you seen this film, Steve?
I have. It's not one of my favorites.
Oh,
I love everything. I love everybody involved in this, but I never really grew attached to this one. This is one of the Best Picture winners that I'm not like super, I like some of James L. I mean, as good as it gets. I mean, is an all-time favorite with Jack Nicholson. Yeah, I mean, it's just okay. It's a melodramatic kind of movie. I have the DVD somewhere.
I've got the Blu-ray that came out, I think 2013.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit of a pain in the butt to track down at the time. I think I found it in a store. But I think I've only seen the movie once. And I think it was when I bought that Blu-ray.
There you go. You've only watched it once because it's okay.
Yeah, so this is the quintessential dramedy directed, produced, and written by the great James L. Brooks. Yeah. Features a powerhouse cast that includes, like Steven said, Shirley MacLaine, Deborah Winger, Jack Nicholson, Danny DeVito, Jeff Daniels, and John Lithgow. Spanning 3 decades, it follows the ups and downs of a mother-daughter relationship with honesty, heart, and laughs. Both critically acclaimed and box office blockbuster, it has endeared as a fan favorite 40 years after its release. So this is this is part of the Paramount Presents line, which is still around. I thought it may have been a little defunct, or at least it slowed down.
Yeah, it seemed like it was going to fade out, and then I guess they decided against it.
Yes, and this is number 42. So yeah, this is.
I also believe Jack Nicholson won a supporting actor award.
He
for this.
did. Yeah. He did. Yeah. Yes, he did. This is one of those movies where you always see it in any type of Oscar montage tribute or something like that, and it is very much between a mother and daughter story that spans a lifetime, the ups and downs, the drama that goes on with that type of familial relationship and all of those things. I remember Jack Nicholson plays like their next door neighbor, I believe, and he's like a retired astronaut. I believe
Yeah.
that's who he plays in the film. Um, but yeah, this is it's a good film. Won 5 Oscars. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, won 5 Oscars. It won Best Picture. It won Best Actress in a Leading Role for Shirley MacLaine. It won Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Jack Nicholson, like you mentioned. Won Best Director. Won Best Screenplay. Uh, uh, I think it's Best Adapted Screenplay. Yeah, yeah. So that's terms of endearment.
Yeah.
I'm actually very tempted to upgrade that. Don't ask me
I mean,
why.
it's a 4K, man. I mean, it's
That's the whole thing about it. And those Paramount Presents releases, whether they are the Blu-rays or the 4Ks, do tend to look pretty good. I know
yeah.
early on they had some issues. Like I think To Catch a Thief didn't look particularly great. I think there was an early Elvis film that didn't look particularly great either. But I did recently watch um, Ghost, which I think was a Paramount Presents release,
Yes.
and it looked very good. I had that on my shelf for a very long time, actually. First time I ever
25
watched it.
years.
First time I ever saw the movie was like
Really? That was
2
the
weeks
first time
ago.
you watched Ghost? Dude,
Yeah, I
why
know, I
didn't you
never saw
save
it.
it for Unwatched Pile?
I don't know.
Dude, what the hell is your problem?
Because I wanted to put it on my shelf, and I just felt like I needed to watch it before I put it on my shelf.
God damn it.
And I was just like, it was one of those weeks where I was just doing a lot of shelf maneuvering.
Stop
and
watching stuff that should be
at
on
the
your
G's.
Unwatched Pile.
I was at the G's in my drama section. I was like, what can I put in my G's, in my drama section? Ghost, but I gotta watch it.
Well, my G Andrew here just fucked up. could have just used that in another episode of Unwatched Pile in the future, but
Very well. But I got plenty of Unwatched Pile stuff.
All right,
just
fine.
waiting to be
but
watched.
Ghost is a juicy one. That would have been a good one.
Yeah, I know. That Swayze was a magic man.
Yeah, Swayze, man. All right. Well, let's move on from Paramount Presents. Let's go. We got a lot of one-offs here. Let's go over to Studio Canal.
Yes.
Studio Canal's got a submarine film. You know, we don't get a lot of them. But this one's one of the more popular ones. 2000's U-571, starring Matthew McConaughey, Bill Paxton, Harvey Keitel, Bon Jovi. Oh, you're halfway there. Wow. They're living on a prayer in this movie. September 25th coming out on 4K, man. Studio Canal, we know their 4Ks look great. You said you just watched this for the first time.
I did. It is streaming on Netflix as of right this second in time, but as we all know with streaming, it could disappear very, very soon from there. So it's on there, and it looks very, very good just streaming on there. So this 4K must look particularly
amazing.
Well. But for those of you who don't know the premise of this film, it's a World War II submarine film that is not really based on a true story. It actually had some controversy when it came out because of the story that it centers around. Basically, a U.S. Navy captain and its crew, the captain being Bill Paxton, and then like the highest, I think his underling is Matthew McConaughey's XO. And they have to go on this kind of not secret mission, but relatively secret mission to attack this U-571 U-boat, German U-boat that is like stuck and stranded, and they want to get the Enigma machine that is all on board. And basically the Enigma machine is how the German Nazi army used to communicate with one another, like the secret codes and all that kind of stuff. And the Allies could not break the code. They could not intercept the code. They could not, decipher it and whatnot. So they wanted to get their hands on one of these Enigma machines. So they've had this opportunity. So they go there and they try to get this Enigma machine, but then things kind of go awry, and they've got to kind of survive in this German U-boat. And that's the premise of the movie. Very tense, great pacing. McConaughey's, I thought, was very, very, very good in the film. I had never seen the movie. I remember when it came out, though.
Yeah. How do you feel compared to Crimson Tide? Because I always am.
Crimson Tide's a better film.
It's a better movie.
Yeah. Tony Scott, good director, right? That's Crimson Tide.
I think that the acting in the scenario in that movie is just so much more tense,
compelling.
Yeah, it's compelling.
This one is very straightforward, and I think that's what helps the movie keep the 2-hour runtime be very, very brief. Like everything is immediate, everything is straightforward, everything is just constantly moving forward. There's not a lot of time for a lot of slowdownness to happen. There is character tension, there is infighting, there's drama and stuff like that, but I still feel like the movie pushes itself very much.
And
very
Gene
much.
Hackman's just the best at just like fucking fine. He
Mm,
hits the buttons. Like he
he
pisses you
does.
off. You like, and then of course Denzel can shove as much as he can do it with the best. So
Yeah, and then Tony Scott's stylistic directing and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, the Crimson Tide's a better film than
yeah.
U571, but there were a lot of those kind of action movies in the 90s, I feel, or action dramas, and you know,
Well, there's a few, but I don't think. I mean, most of them were as like they're not remembered.
right.
I know Das Boot is another one.
Well, that was for the 80s. Yeah, that was the best picture winner. That
Yeah,
movie's amazing. There've been a lot of submarine or slash boat movies over the years. I remember Run Silent, Run Deep is another one that I don't think gets enough love. Um, they were also for some reason some kind of. Do you remember like the submarine and boat comedies of the 90s? Like Down Periscope and Sergeant Bilko and McHale's Navy.
Pirate Radio.
Oh, yeah,
Does that count?
that's in the 2000s, but yes, that counts. But I just remember watching a lot of those,
I
like,
don't remember any of
dope
these that you're
comedies.
talking about, though.
Really? You don't
No,
you never saw Down Periscope?
no.
With, I think it's talk about a cast. It's got, um, Frasier's in it. What's his name?
Brendan? Brendan
No, no,
Fraser?
no, no, no. Frasier from, like, the show.
Oh,
Kelsey
shit.
Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer, yeah.
Yeah, Down Periscope, like Kelsey Grammer.
Is it suck that when you talk about Fraser, that
Yeah.
as soon as you bring up that actor, I think of his character in X-Men? Like I see
Beast?
Beast
Really?
in
Oh,
my
okay.
face. Like I don't see normal Kelsey Grammer. I see blue Kelsey Grammer.
All right, that's interesting. I never
Yes.
thought of that. But
It's weird. Yeah.
Down Periscope was a movie, yeah, starring Kelsey Grammer, Rob Schneider was in it, Harry Dean Stanton, William H. Macy, Bruce Dern was in it, Harlan Williams is in it, and he's like the guy who listens to the radar, listens to the sound, and there's this one sequence where he's like communicating with whales. It's a funny movie. It was on cable a ton of times
Gotcha.
in the 90s, but
All right.
yeah, that's what I remember. But U571, solid thriller.
All right.
Let's move on from the Studio Canal there. Um let's go to our buddies over at MVD and MVD Rewind
Okay.
specifically. So the MVD Rewind collection is doing another one of their movies, another one of their releases but this is of a movie called Mondo, New York from 1988. This is coming out on December 12th. Um, what a movie. Okay, so it's a documentary. I hear they call it a mockumentary, but it's not quite a mockumentary. Not really at all. When I think mockumentaries, I think of this is Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think of something that's purposely comedic. This is not purposely comedic. This is purposely, I think, provocative
Yeah.
in a way. So Mondo, New York is a movie that is it's a documentary about like performance artists in New York and also kind of like subcultural happenings going on in New York as well. I mean, this is how they describe it. So, home to outcasts, misfits, losers, perverts,
Perfect.
lunatics, gangsters, pranksters, outlaws, neurotics, psychotics, maniacs, brainiacs, hippies, yippies, yuppies, junkies, flunkies, monkeys,
Wow.
all trying to claw their way to the top of the trash heap, all screaming, me, 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 I want my fame and my fortune, my lousy 15 minutes, my what the fuck, whatever it is, you want it, we got it. Mondo, New York, restored and remastered from a brand new 2K HD transfer. Thank goodness, because you can watch this on YouTube, but it is in like standard definition, 360p. Looks really rough because the whole movie really takes place at night for the most part, so you can't really see anything when the quality is that low. And this is all about all that cross section of people that I just said in that description. They're depicted in this film, and in a very broad, very in your face, very just straight up way. And it's a jarring film from that perspective because there's not really a narrative to it. They try to structure the film with some type of faux narrative that there's this young woman who is basically just walking around New York at night or during the day, and she happens to run into all of these people. But they really abandoned that whole idea a good portion into the film, and you're just moving from segment to segment that are just like crashing into each other. Like one segment is this magician, and then another segment is like a concert at a nightclub at night. So one segment will be a somebody preaching preaching like political yammerings in the park in the middle of the day, and the other one is like a group of cockfighting going on at night. And the depictions of the film, I have to warn people, when it comes to animal cruelty, it's there. I mean, there's like decapitated chickens. There's this one magician who bit the head off of mice, Stephen, and it was jarring as hell watching that at 4 a.m. It's like, whoa, what is going on
He's
here?
got a head. And
it's gone.
and it's gone.
And it's
Or
gone.
it's gone.
And I'm like, whoa, this is some wild things happening. And then there's people doing like that public poetry where they're just going on and on and on and on.
Like beat poetry.
Like beat poetry and stuff. And there's this one segment where this woman just going on and on and on, and the crowd around her just revving her up even more and more. I mean, there's like public square type talking about random things, like in a very unvarnished, un-PC way. So the movie is chaotic, surreal, wild. Yeah, it's a trip of a film. It's certainly unique. I never heard of it until now. It is based upon, or it is inspired by a movie called Mondo Cane, which was an Italian documentary film, I think from the 1960s, which is the same type of way. That movie was purposely made to make people very uncomfortable and scared and unsettled and just piss people off. Like that was the purpose of that movie. So they took that idea and like, let's make a New York American version of this in the 1980s. And that's what they did. Very controversial when it came out at the time. I was reading some reviews. Yeah, people were like, "This is way too provocative, too much. I can't deal with it." And in a way, that was what its purpose is. And it's also unique because New York, such a gigantic metropolitan area, has such a cross section of every single type of person you will ever want to meet is in New York. I feel that's always been my perception of that town. But this is coming out with a new 2K restoration. It's got an interview with a bunch of people in the film, 18-page booklet. I saw our buddy Eric Wilkinson promoting it a couple of days ago on his social media, on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff. So yeah, this is on its way. So it's got passion behind it, in the very least.
Most definitely.
So where do we want to go from here?
Let's go over to how about 101 Films? We got
yes,
we got a little ditty here, a movie called Meat Cleaver Massacre. Heard of it?
I have now. I have as of this episode. So Meat Cleaver Massacre. Originally titled was called Hollywood Meat Cleaver Massacre, but they decided at some point just to take the Hollywood aspect off of it, and just call it Meat Cleaver Massacre. This is apparently one of the movies that you read in books that this is like one of the worst movies. This is one of the worst movies that you have to see. It's one of those, and it very much is in that vein. So, originally released in 1976 as, like I said, Hollywood Meat Cleaver Massacre, the film was re-released in 77 with a shortened title, Meat Cleaver Massacre. And in addition, there is a Christopher Lee prologue and epilogue. But the kicker is that the narration, it's just a narration. He doesn't appear on screen. The narration was taken from a film that was never finished. So they just took like that audio and clumped it onto the beginning and end of the film, just to say that they had Christopher Lee in the film. I cannot tell you, Stephen, how many people I saw on Letterboxd saying they purposely watched it because it was Christopher Lee's birthday, or if it was Christopher Lee's like anniversary of his passing, or they're just big fans of Christopher Lee, and they're like, yeah, he's not really in the movie. People were highly disappointed.
Oops.
They are highly disappointed. And what is interesting is that this movie, Meat Cleaver Massacre, really doesn't have much to do with a meat cleaver, but there is massacring going on in the film. So this is another film that's dealing with the occult. It's dealing with the occult in an interesting way, in a rather low budgeted way, but here we go. So there's this professor of um a professor of the occult, a professor of like ancient occult stuff. Anywho, he's teaching a class one time, and apparently this student doesn't like what he's talking about and confronts him outside of the classroom. And then he decides to go to his home at night with a couple of his friends just to scare him. But what they end up doing is murdering his wife and daughter and nearly murdering him but end up putting him in a coma. So what ends up happening is that during that lecture that he was performing at the class that he was teaching earlier, he recited an incantation in English, and this incantation apparently summons some type of entity. But it's only supposed to summon some type of entity if you say it in Latin or if you say it in some ancient language, which he didn't. But now that he's in a coma, apparently he can control this entity, and this entity begins taking revenge on these people who murdered his wife and daughter. That's the premise of the movie.
Okay.
And yeah, so it doesn't really have to do with meat cleaving or massacre, but it does have to do with massacring. And the movie is rather low budgeted. It's rather like you don't even see this entity really take form because they didn't have the budget, I think, to do this. The murders of the film could kind of take place like as if the entity is invisible. It's very weird.
This does sound low budget.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. There, I guess you won't believe this nonsense. So there was a director who left the project in the middle of it because it was so bad. He didn't want to do it anymore. So they decided to get the one and only Ed Wood to finish production on the movie.
That's the guy you
Here
get.
we go.
That's the guy you get.
There is a whole interesting production of the movie that you can read on Wikipedia, and it is fascinating about what happened during the movie. Yeah, so like I was saying, like Christopher Lee had no idea that he was even appearing in the movie. Yeah, it's a wild film. It's not good. The movie's not really good at all.
Doesn't sound good.
It's pretty terrible. But it's just fascinating that this movie was made. I'm pretty sure this was the last movie Ed Wood probably ever worked on, because I believe he passed away a year or two after this movie officially came out. Yeah, it's the Edward Wood. My goodness.
All right.
Incredible.
Incredible legacy of this film.
So that's Meat Cleaver Massacre.
All right.
So moving on from there, let's move to some place with a little more
Flicker Alley.
Ah, yes. Let's go to Flicker Alley if I can find it. Oh, yes. There it is. Had to look for my tabs. So French Revelations is the title of this double feature from Flicker Alley. And we've got two films here. One is called Fanfare d'Amour, or Fanfare of Love, from 1935. And the other is called Mauvais Grand, or Bad Seed, from 1934. Not to be confused with the movie The Bad Seed from, I think, 1955, which is good. This one's also kind of okay. But I do want to concentrate here on the first film called Fanfare d'Amour, because the premise of this film may sound familiar to you people out there. So Fanfare d'Amour, or Fanfare of Love, follows Jean Rameau and Pierre Dupont, two out-of-work musicians in the search of stable employment who eventually set their sights on the female-led Tulips Orchestra when they learn of two openings in the group. For those of you who are listening, perhaps you're picking up on this premise. Jean and Pierre disguise themselves as women to audition, ultimately landing the job and joining the group as they travel, rehearse, and perform together, facing unexpected twists and turns along the way. A direct inspiration for, you guessed it, Billy Wilder's 1959 film, Some Like It Hot. So that's the connection here. It's not the movie that Some Like It Hot is based on, or even a remake of. There was a German film in 1961 that was a remake of this film, and that's the film that I believe Some Like It Hot is a remake of. So Some Like It Hot is a remake of a remake, if you will. Yeah.
So if you're mad about remakes today, they've been going on forever.
They've been going on forever. So that's very interesting. So Yeah, so that's this film. This film was they say restored in 4K from the original 35 millimeter nitrate fine grain and a vintage 35 millimeter print. Um, yeah, so that's fascinating. But the next film is um is a film co-directed by um Billy Wilder, which
It's,
is
uh,
which is yeah, which
yeah,
is which
it's
we I was
it's,
just talking about.
it's Billy Wilder.
Look at the
You know,
connection. Look at the
he's
connection.
he's cool, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool connection. So that film. Hold on, I lost the. I lost it. Oh, there we go. So Mauvais Grand. Mauvais Grand centers around Henri Pasquier, a rich playboy who enjoys careening around Paris in a shiny Buick. Of course, who doesn't? When his father forces him to sell the car, Henri suffers a class-related existential crisis. He lost his car. What's he gonna do? And falls in with the local car theft gang in an attempt to get his Buick back. In doing so, he not only learns about the underbelly of working for a living, but also falls for the sweetly seductive Jeannette. Um, uh, Billy Wilder made this his directorial debut with Mauvais Grand during a brief stay in Paris, sandwiched between his escaping the rise of Nazism in 1933 and heading to the United States via Mexico. The film is remarkable for its use of on-location exteriors from the streets of Paris to the port of Marseille, and Wilder's creative use of mounting cameras to cars creates a visceral aesthetic that foreshadowed French New Wave films like Breathless by about 25 years. This restoration of Mauvais Grand is based on a 16 millimeter safety dupe negative made from rare original printing materials from Black Hawk Films collection that have then been scanned in HD for this edition. And both of, I think, yeah, so there's a commentary for Fanfare d'Amour, and there's a commentary for Mauvais Grand, and there's an essay, an 8-panel insert featuring an essay by film historian Richard Newport. This is a fascinating double feature here of like the like early 1930s French films.
Yeah.
I, I never heard of either of these, and you're getting an early Billy Wilder film. And please give me all the Billy Wilder that you can. Um, so yeah, apparently this film is going undergoing a lot of yeah, both of these films are undergoing a lot of restoration work and stuff like that. So yeah, that's cool with me. I like the work Flickr Alley does. I just wish their pricing wasn't so high. That kind of keeps me away from a lot of their titles, but they're worth the money. You're getting films that you would never see on Blu-ray ever without their input.
Yeah. All right, man. That sounds good. And this is a part of a line called Flickr Fusion.
Oh
So
yes,
yeah.
Flickr
So
Fusion is like their supposed to be their cheaper line of releases, I believe.
is that what it means?
I think that's what Flickr Fusion is. But staying in that same vein, I want to staying in that same kind of classic movie vein, or at least movies from the 30s and 40s. We have another Ernst Lubitsch film, and this is The Uncertain Feeling, which is coming out December 8th. And this movie stars Merle Oberon, Melvin Douglas, and Burgess Meredith. Um, and this is an Ernst Lubitsch comedy from 1941, one of the most light, pleasant comedies where Lubitsch capitalized on the husband versus wife theme. Jill and Larry Baker have been living in marital bliss for 6 years. That is until Jill develops a nasty bout with the hiccups. Ugh, that,
Ah.
that would ruin any relationship, I guess.
Ah.
Oh, damn it. The hiccups, they get you every time. Exhausting all remedies to no avail and believing her problem to be psychosomatic, Jill takes the advice of friends and seeks the help of a psychiatrist, I guess, as one would do for the hiccups. This leads to disenchantment with her husband, Larry, causing marital mayhem when she becomes romantically involved with an eccentric pianist named Alexander Sebastian, who favors himself the greatest pianist in the world. Only Sebastian is terrified of performing in front of large audiences. So hilarity abounds in this robust comedy as Larry strives to win back his estranged wife, and in turn, Jill comes to the realization that she still loves Larry. Bonus features include commentary track by Mick LaSalle, a noted film historian. So this is from VCI Home Entertainment, which we don't talk about too much, and they've been around for a little while. They've put out films like Bullet for Sandoval, which I believe we talked about, the classic A Christmas Carol from 1951. They put out a plethora of other films for a number of years now. So yeah, that it's Ernst Lubitsch, so it's an automatic like I kind of want it just
Yeah.
because it's Ernst Lubitsch, and I've seen the film actually, so I can tell you that it's definitely worth a watch. I think all of Ernst Lubitsch's stuff is worth a watch, to be honest, and that's just my bias.
Sounds like you're biased. Yeah,
It
I
sounds like I'm
agree.
biased.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, shall we move over to Kino?
Yes, we shall. So Kino didn't have too much cooking this week, although we did get a few things here. We have talked about this before, and I guess we're going to talk about this again. So Stalag 17, which we know is getting a 4K UHD edition, we finally got all of the goody details on it. We know when it's coming out now, November 21st, right in time for the holiday season. For myself, this is a 2-disc edition. One's a 4K UHD, one's a Blu-ray. Plethora of special features. I'm hoping this is going to look incredible. The Blu-ray came out a rather long time ago by Warner Brothers put it out, I think back in 2013, and this will be, oh goodness, can you do the math, Steven? 1953 to now, how many years is that?
70,
Is that
70
70,
years? Yeah.
70 on the dot? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
7. So this is the 70th year anniversary edition of Stalag 17. This is a film that I've always been a big fan of ever since I first watched it. And this is another Billy Wilder film. This is a Billy Wilder filled episode, apparently.
Yeah.
Just by happenstance. And this is a movie. Yeah, it's a great film. The television series Hogan's Heroes is based off of this movie, so it gives you a sense of what the film is all about. Just watch it if you have a
So,
chance.
so more remakes. Yeah, more remakes.
Yeah, I guess so. I think
The
everything
show
is kind of a remake, adaptation, takes influence from something else. Nothing really. We all people like to cry that there's no originality in Hollywood movies anymore, or there's no originality in movies anymore, and I'm like, if you go back far enough, there really hasn't been any originality in most films that you've loved.
Things are innovated. You
Yeah,
know,
everything is a derivative off of something else at this
yeah.
point. I mean, movies have been around for over a century. It's like, come on now. But this is Stalag 17, which is a great film. So moving on from there, we've got another film in their Kino Cult line. This is Kino Cult number 4 for those of you keeping track at home. And once again, Steven, guess who's making a cameo appearance?
Uncle Jess.
Yes, he is. He is back again. It's like he's never left our side. This is the movie Sinner, The Secret Diary of a Nymphomaniac from 1973. The title itself really explains exactly what it is all about. There is a more definitive a description of the film. So Linda comes to the big city in search of fun and excitement, as one does. When she finds What she finds is exploitation and abuse at the hands of a succession of sleazy guys. Searching for love, she enters into a lesbian relationship with a beautiful countess, discovers drugs in swingers parties, and starts acting in porno movies. She also begins to write a secret diary, hence the secret diary of a nymphomaniac.
Yes.
When I saw this title, I immediately thought of Lars von Trier's film Nymphomaniac Part 1 and Part 2. Because in a way, that entire movie feels like you're reading somebody's diary or someone's journal of their life. Because the way in which that movie's structured is someone telling the story of their life to someone. You know?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you never saw it. See, so
I do want to see it though. Yeah.
There's a theatrical version of both of those films, and there is a director's cut. I don't think I've seen the director's cut of Nymphomaniac Volume 1 and 2 by Lars von Trier. I don't even know if it's in my collection. I have to actually look. Once again, that movie, the Lars von Trier being Lars von Trier, it's incredibly provocative, incredibly in your face in every aspect. Gritty, grimy, unpleasant, I would say as well. And as I'm assuming the Jess Franco film is as well, from what we know of his work. You know, his work takes sex and makes it very unappealing, in my opinion. And that's just me personally. So that's another Jess Franco film. everyone gets a couple,
Everybody
I
gets
guess.
it. Yeah.
Everyone gets one. So, moving on as far away from Jess Franco as you can possibly get, we get to Clint Eastwood. We got-
There he
and
is.
there he is. We go back to 1975, where we're getting a 4K UHD release of the Iger Sanction. I believe if my brain is working correctly, the Iger Sanction has already. It's one of those where Kino's already put out like a special remastered edition on Blu-ray, and they're putting it out now in 4K UHD, just to stick it to people who already put their money
Yep.
towards the Blu-ray.
Just because they can.
As they can. So the Iger Sanction is is a film that Clint Eastwood directed. It stars Clint Eastwood, George Kennedy is in this film, and Clint Eastwood plays somebody who is a retired assassin now, now an art history professor at a college, and he gets lured out of his retirement to do some more jobs, and his jobs are to do these quote unquote sanctions or assassinations, and the one he has to do involves a team or group of people who are climbing this mountain, the Eiger, and so he has to become a part of this mountain climbing team, discover who the person he needs to assassinate, and assassinate them during this climbing expedition or this climbing tournament trip or whatever. And along the way, we find out certain things about his past. We find out certain things about the organization he works for, which is head by this guy called the Dragon.
Mm.
Who's this? He's this very eccentric albino who has to stay indoors at all times and undergoes like blood cleansing procedures and stuff. Very eccentric, almost like a Blofeld, like James Bond type of character. In a way, I felt like Clint Eastwood was trying to do a James Bond film, but didn't quite have the style or the pacing or the the certain specialness that makes the James Bond movie so attractive to people. This movie, while entertaining at times, I found myself to be rather slow when I thought it would have more pacing to it. For specifically the climax of the film, I thought would be more exciting, and it's really just Clint Eastwood climbing a mountain. And you get great helicopter shots of him on the side of a mountain
So,
sometimes,
so,
some overhead
so,
shots of stuff, and
so
I'm like, this is all nice, but can we get back to the plot?
it's
Like,
like the what was that Spencer Tracy movie where he climbs mountains? Him and his son.
oh yeah, it's like him and his brother, I think, or
No,
son
I
or
think it's his
something.
son. Yeah. Um,
The one put
in
out
that
by
movie
Imprint.
called Mountain. Isn't that movie just called like The Mountain or
I
something like
think
that?
you're right. I could go look at Imprint. I don't
No,
know if we have the
like
time.
at the end of the movie, it's just them climbing, and it's just like
Yeah, like the whole
yeah,
there's just a portion of them climbing the mountain. I mean, and this movie is incredibly. I mean, it is the 1970s. We have to keep that in context, but it's incredibly misogynistic, incredibly homophobic at times, in a very mean-spirited way. Granted, like I said, it is the 1970s. Like that seemed to be very much a thing throughout most of movie history, but it just seemed very mean-spirited in this film that turned me off a little bit. I mean, but you get Clint Eastwood womanizing women and climbing mountains and stuff. It's fine. You know what I mean? I mean, I think he kind of did this movie in between the Dirty Harry movies that were being made at the time, as well as the westerns that he was doing, which I think he's more well known for. But if you are a Clint Eastwood completist, if you got a Clint Eastwood section in your collection, you kind of need it because he directed it, and
yeah.
he's in it. So that's the Iger sanction. Yeah, kind of average. But moving on from there, we got a movie here by who I think is an underrated director, and that is John Borman. John Borman, who of course directed Deliverance, which I know is a movie that is notorious for the one specific harsh scene in the film, that's been parodied throughout all of pop culture for the last several decades. But the movie itself, Deliverance, is actually very, very good. And he also had the dubious honor of, I think, directing the best King Arthur movie ever in Excalibur. That movie, I think, is fucking great from 1981. Where's my 4K UHD edition of that? All we've got
Yeah.
is a much older Blu-ray that I think is kind of needs a facelift now. I mean, they missed out on doing a 40th anniversary edition in 2021. That would have been nice, bastards. Didn't give me what I want. But John Borman directed several other films. He's actually still with us, and he directed a movie in 2014. This is his most recent work. Maybe he's like retired now or whatnot. But yeah, like I said, he directed Deliverance, Hell in the Pacific, 1968,
Yeah.
Point Blank, 1967, Point Blank starring Lee Marvin. Great film, great like neo noir, slow burn neo noir from '67. Hell in the Pacific has Lee Marvin and Toshiro Mifune.
Yeah.
The premise of the movie, I think, is brilliant. It's just them on an island like battling each other, like a battle of wills.
Well, it's two soldiers, I believe, from
World War II,
yeah,
who don't know that the war's over,
yeah,
because they've been stuck on this island this whole time, and they're just playing this game where they're going after each other constantly because they still think they're at war. Brilliant film. I owned it on DVD for many years, and then Kino put out a Blu-ray of it. Warner Archive has put out a Blu-ray of Point Blank, where I think the bad guy in Point Blank is played by Carol O'Connor, who was in All in the Family a couple of years later, and that's kind of where his career went. He also directed Zardoz, which I know is a bit of a cult classic. With we were just talking a little James Bond, but he was but Sean Connery's in that film, and he directed Exorcist II: The Heretic, which I know people don't particularly like. That's all I'll say about that. I will say that Exorcist 3 is a much better film. But this movie that he directed, that I completely forgot to even mention what it is I gotta find my tabs again.
Emerald Forest.
The Emerald Forest, starring Powers Booth. Yes, this is from 1985. But what's special to note about this is the same transfer as the 2014 release, but encoded at a higher bit rate and on a dual layered BD50 disc, giving the feature 30 megabytes per second or more. So it should look better than the previous release that was on a BD25 single layered disc. We added a new audio commentary, reversible art, and a slipcase. So the premise of this movie is that Powers Booth is this character, this engineer called Bill Markham, and he is living in Brazil, and he's in charge of constructing a dam. And this dam is like in the Amazonian rainforest, very next to where indigenous tribes live. So one day his son gets abducted or by an indigenous tribe, and he spends 10 years trying to look for him. And when he does, it comes to find out that this indigenous tribe kind of adopted his son as their own, and his son is now part of their tribe. He's grown up in there. He speaks their language. He lives by their customs. He is part of their tribe.
Little bit jungle to jungle.
Little jungle to jungle action going on here. I got that throughout watching this. So he's got to wrestle with the fact that his son is gone, really, really gone, but still around, which I guess is pretty tough. And you get to see like a lot of the indigenous customs that are going on. You get to see like how he's trying to get his son back, but like I said, his son's really gone, and you get to see there's a lot of social commentary on people moving into indigenous land and taking it for themselves, taking advantage of indigenous peoples. All of those themes are in this film as well. Pretty solid film. I've actually rather enjoyed it. There's a lot going on in it, and there's just a lot of moments of just no dialogue, and you're just seeing social interactions. You're seeing people do things. It's rather good, and very well directed by John Borman as well. Just nice to see Powers Booth and starring in a film too.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the film he actually did after Excalibur. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the Emerald Forest, and that is it from Kino. This is coming out November 28th. So yet again, right in that Hollywood buying season for those of you who want to get this. I have a John Borman section in my collection, so I'm gonna need to get this eventually.
I have to get that. Yeah. Well, let's go back to the UK and let's talk about Radiance. Some of this is a little bit of an update. We did get the announcement of this World Noir set Volume 1, but now we're updated with some more information about what films are included, along with a partner label release, and also another single release from Radiance. Let's see, what are the films in this? So we got 3 films in this World Noir collection. We have a film called I Am Waiting, Witness in the City, and Facts of Murder. And I know you said you watched 2 out of 3 of these.
Yes. So I have seen I Am Waiting, and the reason why I have seen I Am Waiting is because this film is actually part of um an Eclipse set from Criterion. The Eclipse set series 17, which is Nikatsu Noir. So in the 1950s through the 60s, um there were these basically Japanese noir films that were being put out in Japan, and one of them was I Am Waiting. Um, and I Am Waiting is, I believe, directed by Koriyoshi Kurahara. It's his directorial debut. Um, and so it says Rebel Matinee idol Yujiro Ishihara stars as a restaurant manager and former boxer who saves a beautiful suicidal club hostess trying to escape the clutches of her gangster employer, featuring the expressionistic lighting and bold camo work. This was one of Nikatsu's early successes. So Nikatsu was, I believe, like a production company that did a lot of these films at the time. Um, and yeah, it's a very it's very, very good. It's a very good film. Yeah, so I wanna see yeah, I'm waiting. They give the same description here on the Blu-ray.com. It says, "With dreams of escaping to Brazil, he agrees to help this woman, get away from this abusive gangster boyfriend, but neither the past nor the future turns out to be exactly what it seems." That always seems to be the case.
Huh.
A foundational film for the pioneering studio of post-war Japanese noir, Nikatsu, like I said. I Am Waiting was directed by a master of the genre and stars, like I said, Yujiro Ohara and Mi Katahara. On the screen and real life couple that ruled Japanese popular cinema of the 1950s. Yeah, I'm all down for Japanese cinema, and I'm all down for Japanese noir. There was a whole collection of movies on the uh, Criterion Channel streaming service that was Japanese noir one time, and I was just deeply interested in all their offerings on there. But the second film here is Witness in the City, which I did not get to see. So it says in Eduardo Molinaro's 1959 Witness in the City, a wealthy industrialist murders his lover, throwing her from a train to look like suicide. Her husband, Anselin, seeks revenge, but his endeavors leave a witness, putting him in a cat and mouse game. Thrillingly shot on the streets of Paris, an adaptation of the novel by celebrated writers Boileau and Narshajak. Molinaro wrings every ounce of tension from the narrative, focusing on evocative shadows and Parisian nightlife. Shot by Henry Decay, who shot Le Samurai. That sold it for me. Sold it.
Yeah,
Sold it for me.
Yeah.
You mentioned the magic words, Le Samurai. You got me intrigued. And then this is the film I did see. Facts of Murder is it's a murder mystery, so it's very much in line with the noir. I think we're very familiar with. So finally, in Pietro Germi's The Facts of Murder, Inspector Igravalo has been called to a Roman apartment building to investigate a robbery. Once there, he questions the tenants, but soon realizes something is amiss. As the investigation progresses, a simple robbery leads to a murder case. Directed and starring Jeremy, he plays the main detective in the film. The Facts of Murder was loosely adapted from the celebrated author Carlo Emilio Gatta's novel and is shot with inky shadows reminiscent of film noir, while the mystery element prefigures the giallo. So you got a bit of a noir and a giallo mixed into one. Even though this was a little bit too early for giallo, I think. But featuring a cast of wonderful supporting actors, including Claudia Cardinal and Claudio Gora, who was in Il Paso, the film won multiple awards at the Italian institutions, including the Golden Globe for Best Film. Hey now. So this is a murder mystery that has a lot of twists and turns, red herrings, all kinds of stuff like that. It's very well told, very well directed. It's very engageable story if you're into film noir, if you're into the murder mysteries, all that detective work and stuff. Yeah, it's really, really good film. Really, really enjoyed it a lot. So I highly recommend it. I highly recommend this whole box set is really, really good. To be honest, most of the stuff we've been seeing from Radiance has all been great stuff. Would you not disagree, Steven?
I
Yeah, I didn't like the way I worded that either.
I would agree that it seems like most things. I haven't seen everything
But
that
yeah, but
Radiance has put
yeah,
out,
at least a lot of the stuff that we've seen
but a
has
lot of
been
the stuff
pretty
I've
damn
seen
good.
is it's if at the very least, it's a lot of it's so obscure to me that I'm so fascinated by every release, that I can't not want to buy it. Like I just have to buy them all. Um,
Yeah, I feel you. I know
yeah.
exactly what you mean. I gotta get some more of their releases before they start selling out because a lot of their limited editions, not a lot, but a few, are starting to sell out, especially their early stuff and a couple of things here and there. I know that Miami Blues is pretty close to selling out now, and they've already announced that they're going to be releasing it in the standard edition. So they've already preempted that. I got that in the email that they send out every month. But moving on to their next film here. Um, let's talk about. I want to talk about Elegant Beast. Um, yes. So the
Yes.
Elegant Beast also has. Um, I'm trying to. Yeah, the Elegant Beast is a movie called. Is a Brazilian film. No, it's not. No, this is
No,
no.
that's
I'm
yeah.
way
It's
off. I'm
it,
thinking of.
it.
I'm thinking of. What am I thinking of?
You thinking of the other film, Black
Yes.
God, White
I'm
Devil?
thinking of Black God, White Devil, which we will talk about. This is the yeah, okay, so this is the film that I did get to see. This film does have an alternate title as well, but Elegant Beast is one of its titles. Yeah, Elegant this movie is very, very good. So Elegant Beast is also called The Graceful Brute. That's the title of this film. This film was actually I think the screenplay was done by Kaneto Shindo, probably why it's so damn good. This film is a very good companion piece with something like High and Low from Kuro Kurosawa.
Okay.
Specifically, the first, the first part of High and Low is all takes place in the apartment with Toshiro Mifune's character and the police and all this investigation and stuff. This film also primarily only takes place inside of an apartment, but for the whole film. And it's all
Hmm.
very dialogue heavy driven film. Really good. So the premise of it is a greedy materialistic family attempts to cover up the embezzlement committed by the son while keeping their secret schemes active. They discover there are other equally conniving players involved. So you've got this family who have got all of these kind of shady deals going on, to make money, to get money. So they purposely live in kind of this small rundown apartment. Um, anytime someone comes over, they hide away like anything of value, like a TV, a radio. They put on like shabby clothes, whatever the case may be. They hide everything to make it look as if they're poor, so that basically they can get away with um, their conniving schemes of making money. And so the son works for this company that he's embezzling from. They have their daughter date a really rich author so that she can get money from him. And basically, like they take that money and spend it foolishly. Like the dad spends it on like investing in bad investments and stuff like that. So they're like constantly like impoverished because of their own stupidity, really. But they're trying to keep up this ruse, keep up this sham, and keep this going. But walls are closing in. People are starting to ask questions. The company that his son works for, they come and try to tell them that their son is embezzling. He owes them money. Where is he taking all this money from? He hasn't been to work in 4 days. What's going on? So the walls are closing in. That's what I'm saying. And then there are other people around them that are involved in their schemes, or maybe doing their own schemes on the side as well. Like there's an accountant that their son is having an affair with or having a relationship with, and she may have her own um machinations going on. This movie is really amazing. It reminded me a lot of the family in Parasite, how they all
I
work
was thinking
together.
exactly the same thing
Yeah,
when
like how
you were
they all
talking
work
about it.
together to kind of
Yeah.
like pull off and they kind of pull off that scheme that they're scheming on the family in that film to get jobs and make money. This family's kind of doing the same thing, but I feel like it's for more um evil, not evil ways, but like scheming ways. Like the family in Parasite was doing it to literally survive and exist. These people seem to be doing it just because that's the way they want to make money very quickly without doing a lot of work. You know, it's more evil, I guess, more mischievous. But yeah, this film is really really good. Highly recommended. The Graceful Brute or Elegant Beast is also the title. Yeah, great film. I This is definitely something that's on my radar from Radiance. Um, so now we can move on to what else we've got going on here, Steven.
Black God, White Devil was the
Yes,
Brazilian film that you were
this
talking
is
about.
from this is from one of their labels, Mawu. Um, what's it called? Mawu Films.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Mawu Films, who have put out Man Marked for Death 20 years later, which was that documentary. This is a Brazilian film. Um, yeah, this is a I think yeah, this is a Brazilian film from the 1960s, I believe. Um, what a weird movie. Incredibly weird film. I couldn't even break this down if I tried, but I'm going to try anyway. Um, so we've got description: one of the most acclaimed and influential Brazilian films ever made, Black God, White Devil. I won't attempt to read the Brazilian title because I'll just butcher that. Tells the story of Manuel, a young cowherd who murders a wealthy ranch owner and flees to the drought-ridden hinterlands of northern Brazil with his wife Rosa. Now outlawed, they join a religious cult headed by the mystic self proclaimed Saint Sebastian, who condones acts of violence. The couple are plunged into a moral dilemma between embracing religious fanaticism and a life of brutality amongst a rural peasant bandits. Meanwhile, the authorities hire a gunman known as Antonio das Mortes to track them down. He's not only tracking them down, he's tracking down like the people around them too. He's actually like hired, like at the beginning when they go to worship at the altar of the cult of this self-proclaimed Saint Sebastian. The local church, or the church hires this assassin guy to go murder all of the subjects as well as this Saint Sebastian because the people aren't going to church anymore. They're not giving to have baptisms done. They're not giving, you know, they're not giving to charity. They're not spending money at the church and to the church anymore. So that's what they do. And then after this segment, they go and join like a gang that's being led by some devilish person who is this leader of these outlaws, and he's such a piece of crap asshole. So the movie is really commentating on so many different things. It's commentating on like kind of idol worshiping, people worshiping, whether it be religion, whether it be outlaws, whether it be God, whether it be devil. People tend to have this thing where they worship these things or idols or people to try to find their own identity based off of that. That's what I kind of got out of the film. But the film is told in an incredibly surreal, avant garde, very art house way where you can't really, it's hard to follow the story because it's so weird at times. Um, and of course, there's a whole language barrier thing as well as when you're watching it. It's a fascinating film, but mostly it's a movie that is is yeah, it's completely unique unto itself. It's a movie that you would watch at probably in a film class. Like I feel like a professor at a film class would would make you watch this movie and kind of break it down with you. Like it feels like that intellectually high.
All right.
But yeah, very very good. Um
Well, we got one more partner label release here, and that is one from Raro Video, so we know it's going to be Italian. Murder Obsession. So, yeah, the description here says Michael Stanford is on a break from shooting his latest horror film with his friends, visiting his mother at their family estate. A series of heinous murders follow, and Michael is the main suspect due to his relation revelation that he murdered his father as a child. Is Michael's past coming back to haunt him, or is
Perhaps.
there another explanation? Um, so you've seen this.
I did get to see Murder Obsession, which is a great title for this movie, and apropos, I think. Um, I think this movie has a connection to another movie we talked about, The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock,
Okay.
which I didn't. Isn't Radiance putting out? Who's putting out The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock? Someone's putting it out.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, Olive Films put it out once upon a time, um, but I know somebody else is putting it out. And yeah, so he directed that as well. And this movie is very much in that weird vein of like, there's some deeply seedy shit going on here. This guy has a very weird relationship with his mother. Once again, we're getting a weird fetishization of something that is very taboo, if you will. And it is taboo in a way because, like you just said, Stephen, he has this trauma as a child of murdering his own father. That's at least that's what we're told. And he keeps having nightmares because of it. And of course, going back to literally visit his mother and where he grew up as a kid is going to bring out all of those past traumas as well. So what happens is he brings in like his friends that he was making a movie with all come to visit him there as well, and they start getting viciously murdered one by one. So who's doing it? You know what I mean? Who is murdering all of these people, and um who's the culprit and what's happening? It keeps you engaged in that regard. It is very much feels like a giallo
Yeah.
film. Um, Yeah, I did actually very much. I'm trying to see what I gave it on Letterboxd. I did very much like it, and it gets very weird towards the very end, like a hard left turn twist that I was like, "Holy crap! I didn't see this coming," and that's what ends up going on. Yeah, Murder Obsession. I gave it like 3 out of 5 stars, but I liked it a little more than that. Um,
All
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, this is another one where if you're if you like that whole giallo um genre, subgenre, movement, whatever the case may be, this may be one to watch, but I don't know if you have to jump right out and buy it right away. Like if you can find it to stream, I would recommend it. It is streaming on Canopy, which I think is where I watched it. It is streaming on Amazon for 99 cents right now. You can rent it. Gee, they're
That's
kind of just throwing it at you for that price.
that's
That's
uh that's
That's less
that's
than a bottle of soda.
that's taking a risk. 99 cents.
Yeah, I guess that is taking a bit of a risk. Um,
You might only get a partial movie there.
you would be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes they can be very deceiving, especially with the movie, um, where you're hoping to watch the movie in its original language with English subtitles. Sometimes you'll rent a movie from Amazon, and it'll be the English dub, and yeah, and then you're stuck. You're out, $3, $4, whatever the case may be. That's happened to me a few times. But 99 cents, I could roll the dice on that. But I think that's it for Radiance. And
That is
this
it.
also officially concludes like Radiance's first full calendar year of releases
Yeah.
because these are all December titles, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. It's been a good year. Good first year. A lot of variety. A lot of box sets. I think we've gotten like four. I think four box sets, including this one, because we had the comedies from that just came out. Trying to think of the director's name.
Oh, it's Dino Risi.
Yeah, Dino Risi's comedy films. They had of course, the Franco Nero set.
Oh, was that Cosa Nostra?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then we're
No,
getting this
yeah,
film
yeah,
noir set.
yep. There's three there. I'm trying to think if there was another one that I'm forgetting.
Hold on,
Maybe that's it.
I'm on their website
Yeah,
right
there's
now.
four or three.
The end of civilization.
Yeah, and the end of civilization. That's the one I was
The
forgetting.
Peter
Yeah.
Zulkin set.
Yep.
Zulkin set. Yeah, there's the Italian comedies. We've gotten everything from Robert Altman to to Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
We've gotten everything from Japanese cinema to Italian cinema to French cinema to American cinema. Um, we're getting some. Yeah, we're getting a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, they did put out the horrible Dr. Hitchcock.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it right here with a great cover art. We talked about that when it came out. Um, yeah, Radiance has had a great first year. Just a stunning first year. So that's awesome. I got to catch up on their stuff before they start announcing January titles. Then
Yeah.
we're back at it again.
Mm-hmm.
But let's move on to let's go to Umbrella. Why not?
This is the final thing, right?
No, we've got
Unless
Screen
you got.
Factory.
Well, let's do that first.
Oh, okay. Right on, right on. Hold on, let me go to because I accidentally closed out of the tab, but luckily it's right on the top of November stuff of the Blu-ray.com. So yeah, we've got quite an eclectic group of Scream Factory and Shout Factory stuff. Steven, get into it for me.
Well, if I knew where it was.
Oh god damn.
Because like you, I was not ready for this one because I didn't think about it. Because
this is actually the main one of the week for me.
is
The one I
this
concentrated on the
really?
most.
Is this
Well,
main for
actually,
you?
Radiance I concentrated on a lot, but
I don't really pay attention. I mean, yeah, I don't pay attention to Shout Factory that much.
okay.
I'm sorry.
I'll tell you this: a lot of people, a lot of fellow collectors, a lot of people in our space, they collect a lot of the stuff that they put out.
They do, they do definitely. But I think there's been
yeah.
a pushback against Shout a lot. I think because
well,
you know,
I think there's very much a not a love-hate relationship with Shout. I love the stuff they put out, but I don't love some of their pricing. I don't love some of the times they screw up with things. I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
and they're one of the notorious. Let's re-release it on 4K, like right
after, like not even right after, but yeah, all of the Scream Factory stuff that they put out early on is pretty much all getting 4K releases.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be end up talking about some of them here.
Yeah.
So let me see.
What we got here is 4K of Silver Bullet, which I believe we just recently had a 4K of Silver Bullet announced from somewhere, didn't we? Or was this
Hold on, let me
pre-announced?
While you read it down, I'll take a gander. I feel, let's see, Silver Bullet, which is a Stephen King adaptation for those of you paying attention at home. So we had a Silver Bullet Collector's Edition was put out in 2019.
Well, I believe this Silver Bullet 4K was like leaked out, announced maybe a month ago or something, and now we're finally getting the official. And then we just talked about this one. Second Sight's putting out a Blu-ray. Now we're getting Chopper from Shout Factory, the Australian film starring Eric Bana. Then we have the Tales from the Dark Side 4K. You know, they previously put out a Blu-ray for this film. Death Wish, not the one that you're thinking of, but the crappy one with Bruce Willis.
I know a lot of people like it. I watched it and I didn't really like it. In context, now that we know that Bruce Willis has had a deteriorating brain health over the last few years.
Sure,
it makes the movie in a different light. You can understand certain acting choices in that film had to be made because of his condition. But it's also a film that I don't think really needed to be remade.
No, not really.
It's Eli Roth, I believe, directed that.
It is. Yeah, I don't know if it would have mattered if we'd have got prime Bruce Willis or not. I just think that the tonality of the film didn't necessarily work for me. There was a little bit of a snarkiness to it. I don't know. But next we have a Sonny Chiba collection set, Volume 2. And, I've been wanting to get that first one. I still haven't gotten around to it. But this one's got a collection of films. We got Defense Power of Akita. We have 13 Steps of Meiki. Karate Warriors. The Great Okinawa Akuza War. We have Karate for Life. It just feels like something you'd say out loud. Karate for life. Golgo 13. Assignment Kowloon. And then lastly, we have the Okinawa War of 10 years. Yeah, a lot of stuff there. I love Sonny
Oh,
Chiba. So I'd like to check these out. But and then we have some TV here. We're not going to talk about.
oh, the Farscape, the complete series.
Yeah,
Just
well, I'm
throw
sure
that
you
out there.
love that.
I
Something
actually
you.
never watched it. You know what? I don't want to get too much into it. There's a lot of '90s like sci-fi TV that I didn't watch a lot of that I've got to
Yeah.
go back and watch more. But anywho, Farscape
um.
is one of them. Move
Yes.
on.
Surviving the Game. Starring I
There's
believe
a cast in there. There's a cast in
I
there.
remember this movie, Ice-T.
Really?
Yeah, this is like one of the movies that's about the greatest game ever. The movie about hunting people.
Yeah, it's the most
Uh,
dangerous game.
yeah, the most it's Gary Busey's in it. I remember watching this movie growing up for some
Yeah,
reason.
it's Ice-T, Rutger Hauer, Charles S. Dutton, Gary Busey, F. Murray Abraham.
Yeah,
Yeah, for those of you who know the story of the most dangerous game, it's been adapted quite a few times in various
it's been
forms.
ripped off in so many different
But
ways.
this one is
Yeah,
directed by Ernest Dickerson. Um, Ernest Dickerson, who it was he directed Juice, starring Tupac. I believe he was also the cinematographer. I think for Do the Right Thing. But he's directed a lot of things, mostly horror, and a lot of television stuff. Yeah, I've always liked Ernest Dickerson. He's also in that documentary about um black horror films, which is really, really good. It used to be on Shudder, but I don't think it's on there anymore. Um, but yeah, yeah. So I wanted to watch the movie, and I did. And Ice T is being hunted by these rich white people, um, or yeah, just rich people in general, because Charles S. Dutton is not white. And he's got to survive. That's the movie. That's the
that's the
movie.
movie. Yeah. Um. Next, we have probably the most anticipated release on here, the Police Academy Collection. These are movies that I grew up watching.
Okay.
The first one's fun, and they steadily get more
Worse
and
and worse.
more. Yeah, exactly. Police Academy 2, The First Assignment, Police Academy 3, Back in Training, which always the third movie is about going back, right?
Yeah,
These back in the day, they like I think Major League, the third movie was Back to the Minors.
it was.
Yeah. Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol. Number 5 is Assignment Miami Beach, of course, because that's where the ladies are. Police Academy 6, City Under Siege. And then lastly, Mission to Moscow. Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there've been, I believe, what are there, 7 of these films?
Yes.
And there was also a television series they tried to do in the late '90s as well, or the '90s at some point, and that I think that only ran for like 1 season or something like that. It wasn't very successful. But these movies actually have not been released on Blu-ray here in the States up until this time, and for years, and by years, I mean people imported the Blu-ray collection from the UK, which was put out by Warner Brothers in 2013. There's been a dirt cheap, and when I mean dirt cheap, I mean like you can buy it for like 20 American dollars of Police Academy 1 through 7 in a collection from the UK. And I've seen so many collectors import that release up until now. And now we've got an actual Region A release of these movies. I don't know why Warner Brothers, didn't do that here or anything like that. It was a region-free set, so you could just import it and it would work here, no problem. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. And I didn't grow up watching the Police Academy movies, Steven. Um, I've only yeah, I only watched them recently, and I've only ever seen really like the first like 2 of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know what? You know what's crazy? We brought this up last week. The way in which you feel about Caddyshack is kind of the way I feel about Police Academy.
Oh, I didn't say I liked this movie.
Oh,
These movies. I just grew up watching them.
no,
It
okay.
wasn't on purpose. It was like my dad made me watch them.
I thought that would have been like a cool like segment there, but whatever.
I'm sorry. It's just like Chuck Norris movies. My dad made me watch
Oh,
like
okay.
every Chuck Norris movie, and they're not good.
Yeah, yeah, it's like yeah, the Police Academy movies they're interesting in hindsight, kind of the way in which
They're
we view
well,
the
they're
police now and
very
modern.
broad comedies. You
Yeah,
know,
they're
these
very
very
broad. They remind me a lot of the '80s sophomoric, raunchy, R-rated comedies, like we saw from um, Revenge of the Nerds
yeah
and
yeah.
all of those types of comedies of the time and whatnot, because they very much do play in the very sophomoric comedy game, like the sexual jokes and all this kind of stuff. There's the one part in is it the first movie where like the main like drill sergeant guy like flies headfirst into a horse's behind, like in the
Yeah.
horse's ass. Like it's ridiculous comedy like that. The films do. I mean, the first four films do star Steve Guttenberg, who was I think all over the map in the '80s and '90s. Like that guy was in so many different things. He popped up in so
Yeah,
many different things.
my remembrance of him mostly is from the film Big Green, the soccer
Oh
movie.
wow, yes, what a reference.
I know, right?
Um, I completely forgot he was in that movie, and I saw that movie a lot growing up.
He plays Deputy Doug.
Nice, what a reference. Um,
God.
he's still working to this day. He like he just did a voice in some Little Mermaid movie. But he was in like 7 episodes of The Goldbergs. He was in there's like a lot of looks like kind of B movie stuff, but he's still around. I thought he was in some HBO stuff, but I guess I was wrong. He was on like a couple of episodes of Community, but yeah, with growing up, he would just show up in things like randomly. Um, yeah, that's what I remember Steve Guttenberg for. Yeah, he was in the first 4 of them. Yeah, and he's kind of like the head ringleader, like bad boy guy. He's in the movie Diner, which I know, which could use another Blu-ray release, the Barry Levinson film. But anyway, that's the Police Academy film. So if you don't own the Police Academy films and have been wanting to own them, um, here's your
Here you go.
chance.
Here you
I
go.
mean, we don't know anything about special features yet about any of these releases, really.
I doubt there's going to be many.
Yeah, all we know is that these are coming out in November.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 more here. We got Fargo in 4K, which it looks like I'm going to be buying Fargo for the 4th goddamn time.
This has been stalled and announced and stalled for a
Has there
year.
been a Coen Brothers film that's been re-released this many times? I mean, damn.
Probably with Big Lebowski.
Do you think Big Lebowski? Yeah,
It's been
Big Lebowski
done
did get
a 4K.
yeah, but it did get a 4K. But I've owned Fargo on DVD, on Blu-ray, and then there was a remastered Blu-ray that they put out, and now there's a 4K of Fargo. Yeah, that's not even wow, that's 4 times. I hope it's gonna look good. I mean, it should look good. I mean, it probably shot
It's
on film in the
a
90s.
bunch of white, but I mean, okay.
Yeah, that snow's gonna look crisp. Crisp, I
Yeah,
say.
you got a grain of snow. All right. Well, the last one here is kind of weird. Its own DVD. If you guys wanted to know about this movie,
It's called Head Count.
Head Count. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what this movie's about.
Well, it says here a gun is pointed to Kate's head. It's his gun. What? Or at least it was after he escaped a chain gang and stole it. Luckily for him, it's not fully loaded. But how many bullets are left? He can't quite remember. And now, with an unknown assailant pulling the trigger, Kat is forced to recall exactly what happened to each bullet. Damn it, this is like Slumdog Millionaire, but with fucking bullets. Damn.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Man,
it is.
I really made that more dramatic than it really should be. But it's
Speaking of Slumdog Millionaire, I want everyone to know this, to put this on record. Every time I look at the Danny Boyle section of my collection and I see that The Beach is only available on DVD, I get more and more upset. Okay? I know it's not everyone's favorite movie, but my goodness, that DVD sticks out like a sore thumb on the shelf when everything else is on Blu-ray at this point. It's like, what are we waiting for? Someone
Look,
put out The Beach.
we're talking about head count here,
I
guys.
know we are. But I talk about something that's only available on DVD apparently. Is this movie head count?
It makes no sense that I don't know why. Like, why put this out? If it, I mean, you know what? I shouldn't say that. If it's worth the movie's worth it, put it out on DVD if that's the only thing you can do. But I don't really get it. Like, why not a Blu-ray?
I know. And I do want to say that there is a Blu-ray of The Beach that was put out in Spain in 2022. But give me one put out here. Come on. I
Give it
also
to
like
'em.
how The Beach in, I guess, Spanish is called La Playa.
La Playa.
Yeah, La Playa.
All right.
Anywho, but yes, that's
it.
it for Scream Factory.
That is it.
Is that it for the whole thing?
No, we got to do Umbrella.
Oh yes.
Finish up with Umbrella. Got a few here. One
We
that
do.
is making its way back out again. We did not too long ago, I think sometime last year, we got a release of the Nicolas Cage film, Red Rock West. It's also getting a release from Umbrella in this collector's edition. Of course, once it's gone through its limited edition, you get a normal, just a normal slipcase. It's just a normal case release. But it is a worthwhile movie if you didn't go get the Signal One, I think, put it out. So yeah, I do think we are still waiting on another release of this. I don't want.
Yeah, a release here.
It's coming. It's coming.
Hopefully, yeah, because the more Nicolas Cage, the better. Let's be real.
Of course.
I mean, he is. I don't know if you've been hearing any rumbling, Stephen, of his newest film, the A24 film that he's in, which apparently is rather good. Dream Scenario, where this is him. A hapless family man finds his life turned upside down when millions of strangers suddenly start seeing him in their dreams. When his nighttime appearance takes a nightmarish turn, Paul, portrayed by Nicolas Cage, is forced to navigate his newfound stardom. We got Nicolas Cage in an A24 film. I know it's making the festival circuit right now, so people be aware of that.
Seems to be a good fit.
Yes, indeed. But we've got some other films here putting out by Umbrella. The second one is Lord of Illusions. Okay. So Lord of Illusions is a movie directed by Clive Barker. People probably know Clive Barker most closely associated with Hellraiser.
Or Nightbreed.
Or Nightbreed. Correct, yes. But so this movie, which I have seen, is a private detective gets more than he bargains for when he encounters Philip Swan, a performer whose amazing illusions captivate the world, but they are not really what everyone thinks. Yeah, that's a very cagey look. So what they don't tell you in that description is that this detective is actually an occult detective. He deals with the supernatural, a la the show Supernatural, where they solve mysteries and things based on the supernatural world. And this detective is portrayed by none other than Scott Bakula. Bakula. And Scott Bakula is a character known as Harry D'Amour. And Harry D'Amour is a character, and this is a story actually based off of Clive Barker's own work. So he's adapting his own work and his own character that he created in Harry D'Amour. And Harry D'Amour is trying to stop this cult from resurrecting this crazy cult leader from the 80s. The opening of the film, not really a spoiler here because it's the literal opening of the movie, is there are these people that are trying to stop this cult leader from sacrificing someone to resurrect some type of demon or something, whatever the case may be. And they stop him, and then he somehow gets resurrected 20 years later or so, or more like 15 years later, really. And now they're trying to stop him once again from being done. And this Philip Swan character that is mentioned in the synopsis is the one who initially, put him away or buried him, and you know what I mean when it comes to that. And now it's up to Harry D'Amour to try to figure out how to stop this all from happening. And Famke Janssen is in the film. Famke Janssen, who was probably most well known for being in the X-Men films of the early 2000s. She was in other films, of course. She was in Goldeneye, the same year that this movie came out, I believe, 1995. I think Goldeneye came out. Am I right on that, Steven?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah, Goldeneye, I didn't realize came out that early. Yeah, it came out in 95 because I remember seeing it much, much later than that. So yeah, Famke Janssen is in this film as like as like the paramour or the wife or the girlfriend or the obsessive object of Philip Swan's um uh, affection, but she and the Scott Bakula character end up having a romantic tryst, if you will. Um, but yeah, Famke Janssen is. I've always been a fan of hers. She hasn't been in a lot of things recently. Um, but back in the '90s and the 2000s, she was in many things. I remember her. She was in the movie Rounders, I believe, with Matt Damon and Ed Norton. You remember that movie, Steven?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Gambling movie.
Oh yeah, she was in the Taken films. Remember she played Liam Neeson's ex-wife in the Taken films, and she got taken in the second one. Was it? I stopped watching those after the second one because I thought the second movie was so damn bad.
Terrible.
Yeah, I couldn't watch the third one because it was basically just a remake of The Fugitive, and I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? where he gets framed for the murders, and it's like we jumped this shark a long time ago, didn't we? The second film has some of the worst action editing I've ever seen. And then there's a sequence where they're just throwing grenades off of a rooftop in a busy city, and it's like, no collateral damage here, none whatsoever.
Shit.
Damn,
this is the UK.
Yeah, this is wild. I'm gonna be honest. If I ever get kidnapped once while I'm in a European country, Steven, and I get rescued, I am never going to another European country ever again. It is not happening.
Yeah, it's never going back.
There's not going to be a sequel to this at all.
No.
But yeah, I don't know how I got a hold of Famke Janssen.
That's what you do.
Trend right here. Yeah, she was in remember Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters?
Of course.
And she was like the main witch in that film. Yeah, this is what I do. Just go down tangents. But yeah, Lord of Illusions, I said, directed by Clive Barker. It's got some 90s CGI that doesn't quite hold up, and the story's kind of a fun adventure. If anything, it reminds me a little bit of The Mummy with Brendan Fraser from a few years later, but that movie was so much better, in my opinion. But it's kind of in that same vibe of that type of like 90s adventure film. At least it's trying to be.
Imagine Clive Barker's The Mummy.
It'll definitely be more bloody, I would say.
All right. Well, we got one more here. A film series called the FP Collection. 4 films. We have I challenge you to a beat off. Is that the name of the only? Where's the other movies? I challenge you to a beat off.
No, there's more than that. There's like 4 movies in that set.
That's just the tagline, I guess. Challenge you to a beat off.
That's a hell of a tagline.
I know. The FP is the first movie. Beats of Rage is the second film. Escape from Baco, and then FP Forever. Forever's. Sorry, it's got a Z on the end. So I know nothing of this.
Yeah, I know nothing about these movies either.
It's a dance. They're dance fight movies.
Are they?
Yeah, that's what it says here.
Hold on, I got to go to the website because
a deadly arena of competitive dance fight. Video game beat. Oh God, this is so out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah. So.
Are you ready for the beat off?
That's a personal question.
I know. Right?
The FP Collection. Yeah. So. Yeah. straight out of Fraser Park comes all four FP movies. Yeah, you just listed them all off. It all started when two rival games feuded for control of rural wasteland Fraser Park, the FP, the deadly arena of competitive dance, as it always is. Competitive dance fight video game Beat Beat Revelation. Hero Dro rose to the challenge to ensure that order was restored and that the alcohol and the ducks could return. I
Ah,
don't know what's going on
I don't
here.
know.
Am I having it's a fever dream here, Steven. But a hero's journey is never done, and Jatro must again and again rise up and journey his way through the waste for love and saving his peeps from turning stone cold sober for Evs.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
There's a
I don't know.
trailer. There's a trailer. Yeah, I've looked at the ratings on Letterboxd, not very favorable. And yeah, it's what an interesting concept of a movie, taking the idea of the dance movie and basically turning it into like a war zone, I guess.
It makes me think of Climax.
Okay.
I mean, like obviously that's a lot more. Gaspar Noé's Climax is kind of surreal and like crazy, but like, I guess the chaosness of what that movie is making me think about this series here. Or maybe this is just their version of Step Up. you know, Step Up is had multiple sequels, and they're all very elaborate dance films. So maybe this is just their version of Step Up.
Yeah, I mean they're all on IMDb. You can look up all of these synopses. I mean, the first film is very much kind of what I just described. It says in post-apocalyptic future, two rival gangs fight for control of Fraser Park by playing Beat Beat Revelation, a deadly version of Dance Dance Revolution. Remember that? Remember the Dance Dance Revolution in the arcades where you had
Yeah,
to
the one where
time
you
the dancing,
stepping on the
stepping on
squares.
the arrows. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
never could do it. One, I didn't like public displays of
Of dancing.
physicality. Um, despite and the second one is despite hanging up his boots following the events of the FP, Jatro must return to the blood sport of Beat Beat Revelation one last time. Jatro and KCDC, his mystical hype man, will quest deep into the waste, a land destroyed by the Beat Wars, to compete in the ancient Beat Beat tournament, Beats of Rage. Face AK-47 and hopefully save the world. These names are fascinating to me. That's the sequel. Holy crap. And of course, they had to make a third one, Steven. So Jatro and Fam embark on their most dangerous mission yet, forcing them to battle foes from the past in order to save their future from a calamity that threatens to wipe humanity off the most sucking face of the earth. For Evs.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm reading that verbatim.
Ugh.
Verbatim.
Um.
And then the last one, the fourth film in this quadrilogy, which I don't think is a word people like. Also quad is quad 4? What am I?
Yes.
Yeah, quad is 4. So the fourth film here, a legendary family of rhythm game warriors must battle their way deep into the future to save what remains of a booze-fueled humanity from a horrific calamity that threatens to turn them all stone cold sober for Evs. These are all directed by the same person too. And FP for Evs came out this year, which is the last one.
Huh.
Amazing.
Okay. Well,
I want to watch these films, but I don't want to pay to watch these movies. I'm curious, fascinated by them, but like that's where my interest in them just ends.
Yeah. I don't have anything. I don't know what to say.
Like these need to be available for streaming somewhere. Like Tubi. These sounds like movies that would be on Tubi.
It should be. Yeah.
With commercials.
Yeah.
Tubi, Popcorn Flicks, whatever.
I'll listen. I'll check out the first one. One day, if you come to Tubi. Okay. Well, that's it. That's it for the Umbrella announcements, and that's it for this show. I'm tired. And
I feel you. I feel the fatigue.
I feel it. I'm feeling it. Andrew, where can you be found, sir?
You can find me on Twitter or X at Cavzilla06.
Marks
It's
the
really
spot.
annoying having to say X every time.
I know. It just like stops
Like
the
X doesn't
flow.
sound good.
It stops the flow. Yeah.
Like X used to be kind of a cool thing. Like, people would like Degeneration X and WWE.
People would put treasures under them.
Yeah, people would put treasures that, or you had Exhibit on Pimp My Ride, and he was a rapper and stuff. And then you had like X gonna give it to you.
The xylophones.
Xylophones, which you could play nice chimey music on.
And now you have
you have it. Now you as a streaming service, it doesn't ring off the bell. It doesn't ring. It doesn't ring well.
It's just already terrible. Twitter's terrible anyway. It doesn't matter. Okay. But you can be found at them places.
Oh, and our YouTube channel, Chasing Labels.
Yes, that place. You can find me at Facebook, Stephen Billings, or at the other Chasing Labels pages, whether it's our Twitter, Instagram, or my letterbox. You can find me over there, or on our Facebook group. You can come over. We'll let you in. You can talk to us there. And you can find the audio for the podcast on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and other places. Thanks again for listening. And hey, keep on watching them movies.
I know I will.